Hello. Just thought we were trying to wind this club up, do something to kind of give us completion on it so we can get this in before the end of the year runs out. This is our corn planter. It's a 1770 conservation planter. It's got air pressure up and down on it, which apparently is a rarity. As you can see here, the top airbag is more of a stabilizer than anything. It applies down or up pressure, while this applies down pressure from the two bags below. So they are actually still got pressure in them right now. You can see all the air lines here that feed it. This is a 12-row front fold with dry fertilizer, which has some pluses when you're coming to pay for fertilizer, but also has some weight problems when you're trying to move from field to field. You pretty well want to make sure, at least with our tractor that we have on it, you want to make sure this thing is pretty well down in fertilizer before you move to the next field. Maybe here's a better row unit to show you. We've got, like I said over there, the small one is up pressure and the other two are down, and they all feed through lines from the front back around. So we've got the drive wheel, as you can see here. There's your drive gears, and they feed through this little pressure wheel down here that just runs against the top of the ground tire there. And then we also have, there's three of those on it. That particular one is the seed one, and the other one is the yeah, it works reasonably well. Here's the block here that controls all the hydraulics through it. This is a mystical piece of machinery. There's a lot of inside tubes in that thing that I don't think I even want to ever see the inside of. But your lines all feed through here. This handle, it will switch you from so you can lock out the cylinders for lift, so that your front ones will stay up and your back ones can carry you when you're on the road. So anyway, I wanted to show you what adjustments we had to make to it. Last spring we got into issues with the wiring on it, and spent an afternoon not planting any corn because we couldn't communicate between the tractor and the computer back in here, which is this little baby there that we deal with. We've been dealing with Kearney's in Thamesville, and they couldn't guarantee us that part for any length of time, and haven't even actually quoted us a price on what it would be worth if it ever did let go. So we've made a few adjustments. We have added T's in the line. Well, here's the pump, I guess, that actually drives the whole machine. So that's just a 12-volt air compressor that is pretty much straightforward, I guess, as far as that goes. But it's all controlled by these solenoids here to the different pressure gauges. And as you can see up here, we've got the main tank pressure, we've got our down pressure, and then we have a separate lift pressure. So what we decided to do, and each one of those are controlled from these solenoids. The pressure on those are recorded in these solenoids, and they send it out to the lines as required. It's supposedly automatically adjusting with the computer in the tractor, but we're finding out that maybe the new systems that are hydraulic are maybe a little more efficient at changing the pressure. So what we've done, if we were going to have trouble with it anyway, we decided to make the tank pressure, or our down pressure and up pressure, steady rather than able to fluctuate. So we put these little regulators in here, and picked these up at a place in London, and for a reasonable amount of, not pretty cheap in actual fact. And then we put shutoffs in here so that our goal is to run off the computer as long as it's functioning, but if it should go down, then we can set our bag pressure and then continue planting. And so we cut into the main feed line of air here and then ran the line down and sent one line to one regulator and one line to the other, and then put shutoffs in the lines here so that they would, if the computer system is working, you're not backfeeding pressure against the regulators. So that was kind of our goal there that we'd. So then we ran it out to the lines that were on their way to the back of the planter to run the different row units. So just put in 2 T's here on the different lines, and we were able to make the system work. As of this morning, these were still up in pressure, but I see they've dropped right now. Hi. I added some pressure to the tank. Normally that runs off the tractor, but being as it's not with us, so we've upped the main tank pressure to just over 80 pounds, as you can see there. We've set the down pressure at about 23 or 4, and our lift pressure is probably plenty high there, but we will, as it gets used to it, we'll be able to lower that. Basically the idea of it is down pressure calculates at about, for 1 pound of down pressure on this gauge, it'll put 4 pounds down at the unit. So right now we're exerting 100 pounds of down pressure on the row units. And I guess I showed you before, but now we can see how much fuller the airbags look, and they are all hardened up now with that kind of pressure on them. So it's a interesting system. There's not too many out there apparently with air now, and we bought this thing used, so that's why we have. Apparently it's still being manufactured, but not for many sales here in Ontario. So we have, this is a little bit of a tour of this corn planter. So maybe some of you have something as big or even bigger, or maybe you've got a 4 or a 6 row. This is planting 30-inch rows as well. And it's doing fine for us at the moment, but it was something that we decided we needed to step up to accomplish the process in a little bit shorter order. So I've got something else for you to look at in a few minutes, but we will get back to that. I had intended you guys to get a chance to take this thing apart sometime before the end of the club. I was hoping to take it to the woods. The motor on this thing, which is basically just a big starter, is extremely hard to drive on the cable system. It's just almost too much for any cables that you want to run to the tractor to run off because at least the tractors we've had, the battery's on the front end, so you're running 15 feet of cable back to this thing. The first time I tried to use it, I pretty well melted the cables down. So I think it's a really heavy duty winch. It's just that we need a different drive, and that was what we took it apart for. But as you can see, it's got a very interesting drive end on it, and we may have to get something machined. We need to have this club and have it over in the next little while. You guys are going to all get your club. I wanted you to be aware of that, and I'm going to try and be in touch with you over the next little while just to let you know that we're going to call the club a wrap after this video. And hopefully at some point in the year we can come up with better system for doing this. As far as the club has been interesting, but under current conditions, we'll have to see how we go forward, what 4-H Ontario and Canada ends up doing for us. So thank you for being in our club. We've appreciated it and glad you guys, hopefully you got something out of it, if only one thing, and you'll get credit for at least this club. Thank you very much, and hope you have a good for the remainder of 2020. You stay healthy and safe, and hopefully you're back in 4-H for another year next year. Bye.